Welcome back to the Golf Industry Show here in San Diego, California. It's 2019, the sun is shining outside. Yeah. We're talking environment here on the GCSAA TV stage, brought to us by Lebanon Turf. I'm with the Environmental Leaders in Golf Award winners for this year. 3 of the 4 that were recognized the other day in the session. Golf course superintendents that now have the ability to win an award for a particular aspect of their environmental stewardship that recognizes something that they're doing. I particularly am a big fan of that change, because I think it's hard to have all the pieces in place all the time, and this is a way for, I think, all of you guys to tell people what are those unique things that they should be trying or could be trying at their facility. So, we got 15 minutes to get through. I like to talk, so we're going to give you all a chance to maybe get a word in every once in a while. You're here. So I'm going to start with you, Gary. Okay. What's your club? You got the Communication Award. Correct. And before we came on the air, I got a chance to chat with you, and you said a lot of schools come. We have good interactions with other agencies. Is that the basis of it?
Yeah, I think the main reason we were given the award, even though I think there's a lot of other facilities do a phenomenal job, and if they took the time to fill out the forms and did all that stuff, I think we could have a lot more people doing this stuff. But with that said, what we're known for is we have a program that we call Oakland Turfgrass Education Initiative. And a couple things that we do with that program is invite students, high school, elementary, all kinds of different ages, to our golf course, talk about environmental stewardship, talk about water conservation, talk about equipment, talk about the environment, and then we allow them to walk on the course and try some of our equipment, and then have lunch, and then they get to play golf. They get to hit the golf ball, and they realize how tough it is and how fun it can be.
Right, okay, good.
We've had some people stay and actually be on work at our facility. It was really great.
Yes, for sure.
It's been really a lot of fun for me personally.
So when you're doing that, you're exposing, listen, now we got this partnership with First Green.
Yeah,
right? Getting more schools onto these things. I know that there's career-wise more interest in getting FFAs engaged and finding next generation of professionals there. It's nice to hear you say that they're joining you, but what do you like best about doing these outreaches? Because I got to tell you, don't you think a lot of people become superintendents because they don't want to talk to people? They sort of want to hide out in the shower, cut the grass, leave me alone. And yet I think what I like about a communication award is demonstrating, hey, we're putting the effort in to make sure people understand what we're doing here.
Well, tell me the truth. How many times do you like to have somebody complain about the speed of your greens?
That's right.
How many times do you like to complain about the softness, the firmness of your bunkers?
Okay, so you just avoid certain people.
No. What it is as soon as they start talking about that, I can say, you know, I appreciate your concern, but you know, one of the things we focus on is environmental stewardship. What do you think about being out on this golf course and seeing all the animals and all the birds and all the other stuff?
And by the way, the local school was just here.
And the local school was there. We also do have an internship program. In fact, we have 2 of the interns that joined us.
Great.
David and Alonso.
Shout out to the interns. Love that.
Thank you for coming here.
There you go. Great.
And we introduced them to this wonderful industry that we are.
Through this program.
Through this program and with help with the schools that we work with.
Right.
We also do career days. It's just a lot of little things that we do to introduce students to the game.
And that your emphasis with the pin, I can see, is on environmental stewardship there. And that's of course the importance of getting this award. So now, even though you and I could cover 15 minutes on this, we're going to go to Mr.
Oh, you want to say something?
Here. Not really. There's other guys here. There's other guys here.
No.
All right. So Matt, you got the Innovative Conservation Award, and it recognized you for a particular aspect of your management, as you were told.
Yep.
And why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so my understanding was what we've done, we removed buckets on greens mowers. And so we've been actually decreasing our fertilizer use in the last 20 years. We've actually reduced our fertilizer use on greens by 90%.
In 20 years?
In 20 years.
I hope so.
Well,
I hope so.
It's a big round number that people like to hear,
I know,
90%.
But you're talking, you know, I know what that means. It means because we were ridiculously over-fertilizing 20 years ago.
It was way over. So in the past 8 years, I believe we've averaged about half a pound per 1,000 square feet. And so we were able to mine, basically mine it. Yeah, it's low, right? So we've mined it the nitrogen out of the greens. And in 2017, we mowed 56 times, once every 5.5 days, because the greens were not growing. And so in order for us to figure out how to have the same conditions without spending more money, we came across research that said if you return your clippings, you're going to get a 25% increase. And so we're still at that half pound. We're returning clippings, and we've increased that fertilizer rate a little
so of course,
bit.
the first thing everybody's thinking is it such sawdust that it doesn't pick up on the ball? I mean, you cut wet, presumably.
Yeah.
And, it's getting on the roller, right? Logistically, I'm just imagining if I let the clippings there. Now, are you using growth regulators?
Not really. I think we sprayed once or twice this year.
So you don't use growth regulators?
No, not really.
On greens.
Yep.
So the environmental part of this was nutrient reduction.
Yep.
That was the primary emphasis. And you're saying it is just removing clippings, not taking the clippings off on the greens.
Yeah. Huh. Everywhere else too. We don't have buckets. I mean, they're off to the side.
Is that your total end usage, half a pound?
On greens, yes. Fairways, we haven't touched fairways with nitrogen
low, right?
in the last 4 years.
Half pound's pretty low.
Yeah.
So now, Carl, can you top that?
Probably not.
So you have you got the Natural Resource Conservation Award.
Correct.
Which in my mind, it's got to be water, maybe?
Water, habitat restoration.
Great.
You had mentioned the change in the ELGAs this year, and I was a little hesitant when that happened, just because the old style of doing it, you were putting in for like 6 categories,
right?
And I always felt like our facility, we were great on a cumulative cycle here. We did a good job accumulatively, and now when we had to break that down, I really didn't think like we stood out in any one category, to be quite truthful. So when I was done with the process, I went home, told my wife, I didn't win anything. We just don't feel like we stood out. But apparently we did.
So you still applied for everything, right?
Absolutely.
So
absolutely
okay, so let's talk about what you think was the thing they highlighted with your use. When they awarded you the thing, I'm sure they showed a video and said what you were doing. What were the things you were doing? Oh, you didn't get a video?
No.
Oh, these guys got video.
Well, these guys are good. They got blazers on.
Okay. So what did they highlight for you?
Well, and it was habitat restoration, which we did some work with our local painted turtle population. Did some for their nesting areas.
So what'd you do? Did you have to put a ledge by the edge of the pond?
We did.
Is that what that is?
We did, and added a few floating logs in the middle of the ponds for them to sun themselves on.
Nice.
But they like laying their eggs in fairway bunkers. So we added some. They like to be in the sand. So we added some sand on the shoreline to encourage them to.
So you brought the sand down to the shoreline?
Yep. We brought some, and some of the shoreline areas that have sloughed off, we had actually added some of our contaminated old sand and increased that, yeah. So that was part of it. We introduced a couple of bat boxes that we had built, some kids had built for us.
Great.
And we put them on there. So this is the first season for that. Hopefully we'll get
So what kind of response do you get for these things from the memberships, right? All of you guys are serving golfers in some way. You mentioned, when they come griping, you try to say, hey, look at all the things our facility's doing, right? You like to tell everybody 90% reduction in nutrients. That's a great one. What do you like? What do you like about the response you're getting from the people that see what you're doing?
It's really neat. We, you get a lot of compliments. It's a talking point. It's a opportunity for us to promote the profession, how we are good for the environment.
Right.
It's kind of neat to see players, if they're waiting to tee off or whatever, snapping some photos of around some of these areas.
Do you have signage?
We do. We do. So we're Audubon Sanctuary Golf Course. So we have some Audubon
signage for you too, Gary? You got signs on the golf course?
Yes, sir.
What you're doing? Good. Don't you think it's important as collectively we have to communicate these things that we're doing, whether you're doing it intentionally there or you're doing it on the golf course in some way? I think it's important to keep them informed. In fact, there's a number of studies that have shown golfers oftentimes are the least aware of the environment.
Well, sometimes that comes on to us, right? So we never do a great job of communicating as well as some of the leaders here, leaders in golf with communication and outreach. And so it's never enough. So even though we're awarded, there's so many individuals around the country and the world that are doing tremendous things. So they should fill it out and try to communicate with members, golfers, community about the environmental benefits of the golf course.
That's a great point. You know, we're probably the worst at tooting our own horn. We really are. We got a great story to tell,
Yes.
but we're the worst. I'd like to say we're humble, but
Well, I would say that, you know, I think when, again, you look at some of the science about personality types get involved in this kind of work, we tend to be people that want to spend a little bit of time alone. How else could you want to be on a mower 8 hours a day, or be out there 5 o'clock in the morning and 7 hours before you see another human being other than the other people chasing equipment? So
That's right.
I think inherently there's a fair amount of our personalities that sort of like being in the shop and off the side and out of the limelight. And so inherently, I think that humility comes from, I'm satisfied just doing this work.
Yeah.
But I think, unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, you can judge it if you want, we do have to talk to people. It is now a demanding profession to the point where somebody's got to be growing the grass. If you guys are having to have all this other stuff that you're doing, you're obviously engaged in the growing of the grass. But when you get involved in the things you guys are doing environmentally, it's a pretty big deal. It's not something you do lightly. So let's go back. I've been told we got 20 more minutes. So I thought we only have 15 minutes. This is going to be great. So we can probe into this a little bit. My sense is, how do your golfers feel about what you're doing? I mean, I know you say they come and gripe with you about it, but you are reaching out to the community. Are you getting that? I go back to that comment you made. If playing conditions aren't good, are you still getting a hard time?
Well, it's not that playing conditions aren't good. I think it's mainly that no one wants to be in a bunker. I mean, you don't get in the bunker. So, I mean, and when you're not playing good, it's not because you're not hitting the ball good. It's because the greens are too slow or the greens are too fast or whatever you want.
That's correct.
But that's why one of the reasons they come out to the golf course, because they want to unwind, they want to relax.
Right.
Okay. So when you have something else to talk about other than the quality of the golf course, then they have a good time communicating. We happen to have beehives, and this year we've got 150 pounds of beehive, 150 pounds of bees. So we actually put it out on the desk in the golf shop and told them about it, and then we were letting
jarred
people
up the honey
and we for a small donation to our nonprofit, they got to take it.
So did you guys do that as a staff, or did you work with an outside group to help you manage the bees?
We did it as a staff. We did it ourselves. But you know, with that said, it opened the door to some really phenomenal conversations because, as you know, for some reason, some people think golf is bad for bees. You know, I don't know what the reason is.
I mean, the reason could be that maybe we use insecticides. There's obviously some concerns that people have about these things, but the argument could be made there's not a lot to forage on these grasslands, but nevertheless, whether they're concerned or not doesn't mean whether we shouldn't be stewards or not.
Yeah, well, you make a good point, but we're still going to eat food. Sure. And I'll tell you, the ag industry uses a lot of products so they can we can eat their food.
Well,
so
yes,
in reality,
well, I mean,
we just have to open the door to the logical conversations with people.
Right. That's exactly
and
right.
when you open the door to the conversation, you can advocate for your industry.
That's right. But you know, it's interesting. You have a lot of tangible things right now. You got the honey. You got these groups you're working with. I'm curious about, what do you tell your members? Do they care about the amount of fertilizer that you use? I mean, not for nothing, but doesn't seem like it's an economic burden to go from a half a pound to 2 pounds on your greens. How do you communicate some of that nutrient stuff to your members?
Not an economic burden. Of course it's an economic burden. How is it not? Any extra dollar, it's a business, right? So
would you argue it's significant, just a little bit? I mean, if you bought urea, it couldn't be more than $20, $30 to get the 2 pounds.
Oh, for sure. So any little bit that we have, you know, we're in a labor shortage. So any money we're able to save off of fertilizer or anything else on the property, we want to reinvest back into the people.
Right.
And so our golf course superintendent Shane Rengstorff is actually here with us. They're the ones that manage the golf course day to day. They're the all-stars for us. I'm very fortunate. I work at a university college course, so we have a tremendous asset of the university. So all our staff are college educated. So they have all these great ideas for us. And so they come up and have these ideas for environmental issues. I mean, we have a beehive too, and you know, and all that.
Huh. So you have no problem communicating golf to college students?
Well, I mean,
because that seems like a tricky thing, right? Whether they like, I mean, obviously if they like golf, it's one thing. But my sense is, especially young people that age, if they've not been exposed to golf, you know the perception they'll have many times of what golf is. So do you run into that on a college campus?
Oh, for sure. You know, some of the professors at the university
oh my goodness,
are
those
you know,
liberal nutballs, huh?
you know, there's always these misconceptions on golf, and so all we try to do is voice how the golf course is great for it. You know, we're also an Audubon Silver certified sanctuary, so you know, we just try to promote the environmental aspect of it, as well as the health and wellness, you know, the charitable aspect, and then it's a business. It's a huge driving force of the economy.
So, go ahead.
I think you make a good point, though. But I think one of the things we need to advocate is to the 95% of people that don't play golf. I mean, that's what he's referring to.
Yeah.
You know, the golfer, yes, it's great that we talk to the golfers, you know. But you know what? You're absolutely right. A lot of the golfers, they just want to have nice, clean, smooth grass greens. Right. But the 95% that don't play golf, they want to know that he's not using a lot of fertilizer.
So let me pivot to you and give you a chance here, Carl. Hold on.
Could I finish up on that?
Absolutely, perfect.
So you're right. We communicate to our customers very well. I think it's the stigma that the non-golfer public has about golf courses. You talk about you know, insecticides. All they hear is a bee kill in Portland, right?
Yes, of
they hear
course.
about something like
That's
that.
right.
So
That's
it just goes. We're actually not just educating our customers, but the non-customer, the 90+%.
Well,
that
let me
golf.
see, because I think I've just all heard of you come clean on this. You're all certified Audubon Cooperative Sanctuary.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. Does that help, Carl?
You know, I think
third-party verification. Somebody outside of this business, even though, you know, they've been criticized because, oh, you're working with golf, and I know Ron's vision many years ago was, I'd rather work with people to help make them better than sit around criticizing them when they can't figure out what to do.
Right.
So that was sort of the partnership that Ron sort of started and Christine's working on now.
Right.
Do you think that helps you?
I think so. I think it can't hurt. Let's just put it that way. The signage, it just goes to show that we're making an effort to be, like you said, to be recognized by a third party, that what we're doing is the right thing to
Do
be
you
doing.
get pressure from outside groups many times, or where is your golf course?
It's in eastern Washington State, kind of an ag community.
Oh, so, okay, so not
really.
a lot of burdensome pesticide regulations like they'd have in Seattle.
Correct.
Right,
yeah.
so you don't have that constant pressure. They see you as a part of the community. The sanctuary must make it even better. Do you have people out to be involved in your resource working group and stuff for the certification?
We do have a local Audubon club in the Tri-City area, and then we have had a field trip, a first green of Washington field trip out there. Yeah, exactly. And then I'm also a grassroots ambassador, so yeah.
Politics as well for you.
There you go. Well, I don't know about that, but
so you're assigned to somebody, that means.
I am.
That's right. So listen, getting this award, right? You're being recognized for some level of excellence. Like, does this get? I think this gets promoted in Golf Digest as well, right? The ELGA is also promoted in Golf Digest, and to me, that's one of the really important components to this. That what we're doing for environmental stewardship is being recognized, and then gets the clout of being in a golf magazine. Because I still think we do need to remind golfers about this. It does fall off the back of their brain, but at the end of the day, if we can't demonstrate some sort of sustainable approach to what we're doing, we're going to come under increased scrutiny. So I like that everybody's getting recognized for it. Each of you seem to have your own approach to it, but the Audubon thing, that third-party verification, has that helped in a university environment?
For sure. You know, I mean, we're tied in with the university, the turf program and other aspects. We have a long study for water on the golf course. It's a 25-year study. So the next time that we'll do the study to see the water runoff on the golf course is going to be in 2025.
What university are you connected to?
Kansas State University.
No way!
Kansas.
I didn't know you were. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So Fry and Megan Kennelly and Dale Bremer.
Yep.
Very good. So that's the golf course for in Manhattan.
We are a living laboratory for them. So we do research events out there all the time. We do upwards of 5 research out there, and we host classes, up to 11 classes a year. So
excellent.
We try to get involved in the university and try to promote the future leaders.
Yes, so then that makes this one part of your nutrient thing even more important, because you got academics looking down your back on this. I know those guys will be very interested in that sort of thing. The program at K-State has been renowned for a really long time. Okay, and it's so, my sense is that having that there must put you under a little bit of extra pressure. You feel like they're looking over your shoulder?
Not necessarily.
No?
You know, the pressure. I don't know if there's any pressure, but you know,
I know Jack. He's such an awful guy.
It's enjoyable.
He's so rude.
It's enjoyable. It's you know, I'm the old guy on staff. I'm 33,
yeah.
right? I'm the oldest guy by at least 5 years on our staff. So everyone else is college students. I mean, they bring a sense of energy and, you know, don't stay with the status quo. They're always asking why. So it really helps push us become better at maintaining the golf course for more economical.
Do you think that's the case for you? All this outreach that you do, when you have to talk to people about what you're doing, does it make you examine a little bit your practices a little more closely?
Oh yeah, well you always want to practice what you preach, and you always look at that. But I think what he's saying with the non-golfers that are on the course, and that's one of the things that Audubon focuses on, is to make sure you have something up on your building, something around, so the non-golfers that either come to buy golf balls. A lot of us have facilities to do food and beverage.
Right.
I mean, we have a lot of. You go into our foyer, and we all have something that explains our stewardship program. And then when you see someone sitting there that's reading all that stuff, and he's about ready to go have a beer at a wedding or some other event, right. You're going, wow, we're touching more people. And then that person, it's a snowballing effect.
That's right.
And that's why I like working with the students, because I work with the teachers.
That's right.
And teachers are a big part of how our society is going to grow.
Exactly right.
And so if you talk to the teachers and they're coming to see what's going on, and I work with a number of other organizations within the academic world, and they go, man, I had no idea it was like this. You know, they hear from everybody different what's going on the golf course, and they don't until they get there and see what these guys do, what we do, and all the people that go on a golf course, they just think that we're there cutting down trees and
polluting the water, all the normal stuff. But I feel like as we start to change and wrap up for the afternoon, my sense is that now you've won these awards. You're not done, right? You're not done. You're going to keep doing what you're doing. Do you have anything in mind for this coming year? What is your next environmental goal?
To win an award outside of the natural resource. I'm done with that for 4 years. So now I got to go after a communication award or an innovative award. So yeah, personally for myself, again, I want to get more involved as a grassroots ambassador, have my congressman out to the golf course for an event and promote him a little bit. I've got an idea for innovation, some of the products I'm using. Doing a little case study on that.
Nice.
I'm going to continue on. We're Operation Pollinator. We've already done some of that, but also we got the Monarch, some of the milkweed seed that we got.
Imagine that, planting milkweed.
Yeah, exactly.
So crazy.
Out of play there. But yeah, just continue on. I mean, we're really lucky. I just a quick plug in for our management company. Gary and I, we're a managed with Corsico, who just won the President's Award and was recognized.
Right, they got the President's Award for environmental stewardship. Nice.
Yeah, so for us, it is it's just one of their core values, environmental stewardship, and we take this serious. So it's not a one-time thing. It's part of our DNA, and we try to get every one of our golf courses to practice good conservation practices.
This is really great to hear from a management company, right?
Absolutely.
That many times the perceptions, cut the costs, do what you can, squeeze every dime out, and not that you're not trying to be efficient, but having a sort of guiding principle, right, that environmental stewardship matters to us, and means also you're going to direct resources towards that. It's not just we say it, right?
Yeah.
You're going to spend time. You're going to spend time.
It makes it a lot easier to sell, when you have that support from the management company and then to the owners of the facility and the golfers. A lot easier.
So Matt, in a university, where are you housed? In the grounds or athletics or what?
Separate entity. So we're basically an umbrella corporation of the foundation, but we're our own separate entity. And so I report to a GM, reports to a board of directors, and our goal is for the betterment of golf courses and the golf teams. And so that's us. And so some of our goals, I mean, we have a natural resource management plan with Audubon International.
Right.
And when we just finished a rough draft with the GCSAA State BMP of Kansas, which,
Right.
you know, their goal is all 50 states by 2020.
Yeah.
And then after that, our goal is the facility enhancement plan. So that way, it's not just, you know, some of us that gets the recognition, but there's other individuals that are doing tremendous things that need the recognition.
I agree. Well, big congratulations to all three of you. Big, especially you know, you guys. I really love that you put forward these things to get these awards. I hope it motivates your peers to do the same thing. I do think, I don't know that everybody's doing it to the degree that you're doing, and I know you'll sort of maybe play down what you're doing. I visit to enough places. I see a lot of good work, but sometimes excellence needs to be recognized. So congratulations for all your excellence in these particular areas, right? And I hope that you keep up the good work, and maybe we're sitting back up here next year and able to chat about it again. Thanks for coming.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for the
Thank you.
sponsorship, getting involved in ELGA. I'm Frank Rossi. We're at the Golf Industry Show here in San Diego, California on the GCSAA Live TV stage, brought to you by Lebanon Turf. We'll see you in a little bit.